5 seconds to go. Start. It was just a day at the office like any other. Being there first, as she nearly always was, Penny took the cover off her machine and gave the machine a quick clean. This did not take long because Penny did it each day and the machine was therefore kept in very good condition. From time to time, she oiled it as well, and because of these kind attentions, the machine caused her no trouble. She then cleaned Mr. White's table, making quite sure that everything was ready and in order. Mr. White was quite a good employer and easy to work with as a rule, but he did sometimes make a scene if small things went wrong. So Penny had found out that the best thing to do was to make sure that nothing went wrong. By the time all these small matters had been seen to, Miss West had come in. Penny and Miss West both worked for Mr. White. Penny was only 17 years of age and had been in the office for less than a year, whereas Miss West was 22 and had been with Mr. White for 4 years. Penny did not mind being under Miss West because she knew that she had not yet had enough experience to take the full responsibility herself, and moreover, Miss West was almost always kind and helpful. Of course, if Mr. White made life difficult for Miss West for any reason, she then passed it on and made things difficult for Penny, but on the whole, all was quite peaceful, and such upsets did not last long. Miss West opened her notebook and began to complete letters left over from the day before, while Penny put answered letters away and placed copies of letters sent out into the letter book. They worked without speaking for about half an hour. Then the door opened once again, and Mr. White passed through the office on the way to his own room, which opened out of the general office. He was a small man with quick movements, a man who seemed to be able to get through a great amount of work in no time at all. He seemed, too, to remember the smallest details of everything that had happened. He remembered the names of all of his customers and he always considered their personalities when writing or speaking to them. He often used to remark that it was not only the quality of a product that made it easy to sell a thing, it was also an understanding of the person to whom the goods were to be sold. If the customer liked you and believed that you liked him, he used to say the sale was already halfway towards being made. Having read through the morning's letters, which he liked to open himself, Mr. White called Miss West into his office to take down some answers. Penny went off as she did each morning during the winter months to heat up some milk. She took this in for Mr. White and Miss West. Often, however, Miss West's milk went cold because, as she said, he never stops speaking for long enough for me to touch it. In the summer months, of course, the morning drink was something very cold, and Miss West's trouble was that it became warm before she could touch it. And so the events of the day were much as they always were. As it was a Wednesday, however, Penny went out at 12:30 to a little place near to the office where the meals were rather better than at most places which were within her means. The meal cost a little more than on other days of the week, but she went there happily because six girls of her own age and from her old school met there each Wednesday to have a meal together and to exchange news and views. Penny looked forward to these Wednesday meetings very much. The girls talked freely of any difficulties they met with in their work, and she was able to learn more about office life in this way than would have been possible in one small office. Stop.